Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya. Astottara Satashi Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. This is the 10th canto, first chapter, text number 4. Nivritātāsai upagiyamānā bhavo sadachotramano biramat ka utama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajeta vinapashugna nivritātāsai upagiyamānāt bhavo sadachotramano biramat Kautama shloka gunanuvada Puman virajeta vinapashugna Nivritātāsai upagiyamānāt bhavo sadachotramano biramat Ka utama shloka gunanuvadat Puman virajeta vinapashugna Nivritātāsai upagiyamānāt bhavo sadachotramano biramat kautama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajeta vinapashugnat Puman virajeta vinapashugnat Nivrita, released from. Tasai, lust or material activities. Upagiyamanat, which is described or sung. Bhava asodat, which is the right medicine for the material disease. Shrotra, the process of oral reception. Manaha, the subject matter of thought for the mind. Abhiramat, from the pleasing vibrations from such glorification. Ka, who, Uttama Shloka, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Guna Anuvadat, from describing such activities. Puman, a person. Virajeta, can keep himself aloof. Vina, except. Pashugnat, either a butcher or one who is killing his own personal existence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? So purport, picking up from the fourth stanza. The instructions. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita and the descriptions of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam are so pleasing that almost anyone suffering from the threefold miseries of material existence will desire to hear the glories of the Lord from these books and thus benefit on the path of liberation. Two classes of men, however, will never be interested in hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Those who are determined to commit suicide and those determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their own tongues. Although such persons may make a show of hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam at a Bhagavat Saptaha, this is but another creation of the Kamis, who cannot derive any benefit from such a performance. The word Pashugnat is important in this connection. Pashugna means butcher. Persons fond of performing ritualistic ceremonies for elevation to the higher planetary systems must offer sacrifices, yagyas, by killing animals. Lord Buddhadev therefore rejected the authority of the Vedas because his mission was to stop animal sacrifices, which are recommended in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Nindasya gyavide ahaha shuti jatam sadaya ridaya dashita pashugatam keshavadrita buddha sharira jaya jagadisha Hare, from Gita Govinda. Even though animal sacrifices are sanctioned in Vedic ceremonies, men who kill animals for such ceremonies are considered butchers. Butchers cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness, for they are already materially allured. Their only interest lies in developing comforts for the temporary body. Bhogaishwarya prashaktanam taya parita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadona vidiyate. which means in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Bhagavad Gita 2:44. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Manusya janama paya Radha Krishna nabhajiya Janiya shuniya bisha kainu. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious and who therefore does not engage in the service of the Lord is also pashugna, for he is willingly drinking poison. Such a person cannot be interested in Krishna Katha because he still has a desire for material sense gratification. He is not Nivrita Trisna. As it is said, Traiva Gitkaste Purusha Vimukha Harimeda Saha. Those interested in three vaga, that is, in Dharma, Artha, and Kam, are religious for the sake of achieving a material position with which to gain better facilities for sense gratification. Such persons are killing themselves by willingly keeping themselves in the cycle of birth and death. They cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness. For Krishna Katha, topics about Krishna consciousness, there must be a speaker and a hearer, both of whom can be interested in Krishna consciousness if they are no longer interested in material topics. One can actually see how this attitude automatically develops in persons who are Krishna conscious. Although the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement are quite young men, they no longer read materialistic newspapers, magazines, and so on, for they are no longer interested in such topics, nivritata sai. They completely give up the bodily understanding of life. For topics concerning Uttama Shloka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master speaks and the disciple hears with attention. Unless both of them are free from material desires, they cannot be interested in topics of Krishna consciousness. The spiritual master and disciple do not need to understand anything more than Krishna, because simply by understanding Krishna and talking about Krishna, one becomes a perfectly learned person. Yasmin vigyate savam evam vigyatam bhavati, Mundaka Upanishad 1.3. The Lord sits within everyone's heart, and by the grace of the Lord, the devotee receives instructions directly from the Lord himself, who says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Savasya chaham ridi sanivisto mata smriti jnanamapohanam cha vedaischa savai aham eva vedya vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Krishna consciousness is so exalted that one who is perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the spiritual master is fully satisfied by reading Krishna Katha as found in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar Vedic literatures. Since merely talking about Krishna is so pleasing, we can simply imagine how pleasing it is to render service to Krishna. When discourses on Krishna Katha take place between a liberated spiritual master and his disciple, others also sometimes take advantage of hearing these topics and also benefit. These topics are the medicine to stop the repetition of birth and death. The cycle of repeated birth and death, by which one takes on different bodies again and again, is called bhava or bhava rog. If anyone willingly or unwillingly hears Krishna Katha, his bhava roga, the disease of birth and death, will certainly stop. Therefore, Krishna Katha is called bhava sodha, the remedy to stop the repetition of birth and death. Kamis or persons attached to material sense enjoyment generally cannot give up their material desires. But Krishna Katha is such a potent medicine that if one is induced to hear Krishna Kirtan, he will certainly be freed from his disease. A practical example is Dhruva Maharaj, who at the end of his tapasya was fully satisfied. When the Lord wanted to give Dhruva a benediction, Dhruva refused it. Swamin kritatos mi varam nayache. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 42. My dear Lord, he said, I am fully satisfied. I do not ask for any benediction for material sense gratification. We actually see that even young boys and girls in the Krishna consciousness movement have given up their long practice of bad habits like illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Because Krishna consciousness is so potent that it gives them full satisfaction, they are no longer interested in material sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanang pavenebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvi Navaditam Astuma Vidvisavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaite girim, yad kripa tamaham vande shi gurum dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Parikshit Maharaj, who is situated in eagerness to hear from Shukadev Goswami. Yesterday we discussed the qualification somewhat. We cannot really cover fully the qualifications of the pure devotee. But we mentioned a few qualifications of Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Specifically Shukadev Goswami being liberated from within his mother's womb, coming out and further getting education from his father Vyasadeva by hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Parikshit Maharaj, similarly, they all went to the same Gurukul, the womb of their mothers. When Parikshit was in the womb, then he was being attacked by the Brahmastra weapon of Ashwatam. And from within that womb, the Lord appeared there and protected him from the Brahmastra weapon. Of course, we hear that that Brahmastra weapon indeed did burn the fragile body of the child in the womb. However, the Lord revived him, and there within that womb he got the darshan of the Lord. And therefore, astrologers who understand the child's future just by when they are born and by seeing the markings on the body gave the name Parikshit, the examiner, one who is examining all people. And why is examining all people? Because he wants to see that divine Lord that he saw in his heart. And so Parikshit Maharaj is then eager now to hear the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who will appear and who appears millennium after millennium. Shukadeva Goswami also is eager to discuss this. We hear Shuka is also the divine parrot, associate of Srimati Radharani. So who can be more qualified than the associate of the divine couple? And as a parrot, then he has transcendental wings. That means there is no Leela that he cannot get to. And he always has an advantage of simply observing and hearing. He doesn't have to be distracted by direct involvement. And we hear from the same Bhagavatam, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Tahu, that this Bhagavatam, it is like Rasamalayam, very soft and sweet and juicy, tasty. And it has become more tasty because Shuka Mukat Dravya Samyutam. It is coming from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. So the parrots are also appreciated for pointing out which fruits are ripe to be picked, because they start to peck and eat the fruits. And so these fruits of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam are the ripened fruits of the Vedic literature. A tree may have good fruit in terms of, if you have to choose from guava and apricot and mango, you may have your desire of fruit. But that fruit, until it is ripe, is not giving the best that it can offer. Green mango makes nice achar, pickle. Yes, there's some use, even while it is green. And then when it is ripe, then it is very tasty for many people. So this Bhagavatam is glorified as the ripened fruit of the Vedic literature. So not only is it ripe, then it is now being taken in by Shukadeva Goswami. And when he's speaking, it is now imbued with his personal realization, personal experience of Godhead. And by this speaking of Bhagavatam, he is attracting those who are understood as relishers, the bhavukas, those who have experience in tasting the mellows of Krishna consciousness, devotional service. Parikshit is glorifying this message of Bhagavatam, and he is qualifying how it should be relished. See, we want to learn from someone who is experienced. We hear many times, and we ourselves may have that experience, that we may not ourselves be, say, mridanga players, like Krishna Prabhu is. But then sometimes we want to have a say how he should be playing. Sometimes the mridanga players, they get upset because kirtan leader keeps giving them the evil eye. You know, he wants something, and then they try this, he's not satisfied still. And then it's, okay, Prabhuji, you play then. So if you don't understand how to do the thing, really what is the value of trying to give your opinion how it should be done? So here, Shukadeva Goswami has tasted, and therefore he can speak. Parikshit Maharaj has been hearing about the Lord, and so he says, Upagiyamanad, that this must be done continuously, intensely. And this upa is intensifying that, yes, giya, chanting, singing, but upagiyamana means loudly, intensely. This we can also apply in our chanting of japa. This is the everyday lila that the devotees are invited to take part in. Yesterday we were discussing with the devotees. Someone asked, how do we chant the holy name with humility? And we were sharing the example of one who is approaching someone's house and then they knock at the door. So when you knock at the door, entrance into that house depends on the person who is inside. Have any of us ever heard a knock at the door and simply continued our business inside? There is our fellow religious compadres, the Jehovah's Witnesses. You've heard of them? Yes, they have a reputation for coming to people's homes. You know, they are doing their preaching work. And they would come also on Sundays. Generally, people are home on Sundays. But these days, people have CCTV, or they have the peephole there. So Jehovah's Witnesses are coming to witness about Jehovah. And the people in the house, oh, no, we don't want to hear about. So they may knock, and everyone, instead of going to open, shh, they tell everyone to quiet. Let us pretend to be not home. So until and unless the homeowner wants to open the door, no matter how much you knock, you will not enter. If you are sincere about trying to come in, then you will continue to knock. Or maybe you may move away from the door and try to call a little louder the name of someone in the house. So that requires humility. It requires patience. And especially it requires confidence. Just exactly as Srila Rupa Goswami teaches how we will be successful in devotional service. Utsaha nischarya dharyat. So we are approaching Radha and Krishna in chanting their holy name. So we are knocking at the door of bhakti, the door of devotional service. And we are patient to wait on them to open that door and to give their mercy. Sometimes the door opens very widely and you think, oh, there's nothing better than chanting the holy name. And then the next day you go and you sit at the very same place at the same time and you try to chant, and sometimes there's not much feeling, not much experience, because the Lord is independent. It is up to the homeowner to open the door or not. However, if we are desperate to get their attention, then yes, if we are chanting, lullaby, japa, we're just whispering something to the mind. And the mind is going on with its own contemplations. Then the holy name doesn't really divert the attention of the mind to hearing the name. Therefore, we are advised to increase the volume. Upagiyamana. Chant a little loudly, Hare Krishna. Yes, even in the class, people are. Yes, we have to give the mind a good enough volume so there's no way to ignore the sound vibration. So this glorification of Krishna, when it is done with enthusiasm, loudly chanted, then it really enters the ear and into the heart. And it can create some transformation there. Therefore, the listener is advised to learn how to properly hear. We have these descriptions of different types of listeners. Yesterday we spoke about one bad type of listener. So today we speak, positive. How to become good listeners of Krishna Katha, especially hearing from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. One type of listener is said to be like the chatak bird. So the chatak bird is famous for only drinking water that is falling down from the clouds. It is not interested in water that has touched the ground. Very picky type of bird. He's ready to dry fast if he cannot get water directly from the rain cloud. So a listener who's like a chatak bird is practically catching the words as they come from the speaker. They're so eager to hear Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Then one other listener is like the hangsa. Hangsa in English is the swan. So the swan is said to be expert at being able to separate milk from a mixture of milk and water. So one who hears like the swan, they may hear all sorts of katha going on, but they are just simply extracting the essence. Saragrahi Vaishnava. They are simply taking the juice from the discussions. So such hearing is advised for the devotees to practice. One type of hearer also who is not positive is known as the wolf hearer. So the wolf is famous for howling. Yes, I don't know if anyone here is expert at howling like the wolf. But it's not important for advancement in bhakti. But the wolf is simply one who is creating disturbance. When there's some Krishna Katha being discussed, then the wolf hearer will be trying to talk to the neighbor. You know what happened, did you see, did you hear? And therefore, simply creating disturbance, not hearing. We have such even in the situation of chanting the holy name. We call them japa terrorists. Yes, japa terrorists, they can see that we are trying to chant the holy name. Sometimes you have to shake the bead bag for the devotees to understand. But then even though, you're shaking the bead bag, even shaking the head, they come, Prabhuji, Prabhuji, want to talk to you, Mataji, Mataji. So I'm trying to chant japa and you are trying to kill my endeavor of chanting. You're terrorizing me, therefore you're becoming a japa terrorist. And this is particularly a situation, especially at home. Because in the home, there are many things going on. The children have to be watched because they do all sorts of mischief. There must be some television situation there, husband or wife. So the tendency is that the devotee is sincere. Okay, I must chant. But then also I must take care of everything. Multitask. So what happens is, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hey, Haribol. Hey, watch out, do this. Even when we come Sunday program, you see many devotees have their bead bag. But then, it's time to socialize. We have one of our temples there. Because of the happiness of socializing, especially at Prasadam, and the neighbors made big problem there. And so Prasadam has been moved earlier so that it's not late at night when the devotees are completely inspired by associating with Krishna Prasadam. So yes, japa terrorists. All of this is in line with hearing. What is going on in our personal attempt to hear the holy name of the Lord is transferred to all our activities in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, our japa will inform how much we have an interest in hearing about Krishna. If we are not surcharged from chanting the holy name of Krishna, then to hear about Krishna's activities also becomes a drag, a fuss. In fact, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam becomes the best lullaby. We all know how Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya is said to be the signal, subconscious for the devotees, to become humble and very meek and submissive. It's very relaxing. One devotee was telling me like for him, a sure formula to fall asleep, because we were marveling how he can easily fall asleep even in a moving car. He said, I simply have to put my hand in my bead bag. And he said it with his chest, and I was like, okay. I guess he has observed. It takes a few mantras, and then it's very relaxing, and one takes a time out. So this is Krishna we are dealing with. And if we don't introspect and look at our lives and look at the habits that we've formed around hearing and chanting, then we will not be able to diagnose why we are not growing in our interest in Krishna consciousness. If we are not chanting properly, means not patient to go through the ups and downs, not humble to knock at Krishna's door, not confident that definitely Krishna will give his mercy because he's all merciful, then also we will not be eager to hear. And when we are not sufficiently hearing, that means we are not taking the medicine. Then the bhava rog, the disease of the heart, which is a thirst for material enjoyment, continues to haunt us. Even in the matter of vratas, we see Kartik time that many devotees make many vows. And most of them may be in the matter of cutting down different enjoyments, not this prasadam, not that much, only once a day, etc. And then, because the spirit of enjoying is still there, and this is wonderful, we're trying to curb it, we may fall into the trap of now policing other devotees. Oh, just see, he's eating prasadam. Look how much prasadam he's eating. He couldn't fast. So instead of gaining the benefit from your own tapasya and offering something to Krishna, then we are meditating on how others are not up to our standard. So sometimes the Vaishnavas advise, rather let's take positive vows. Let us hear more, let us chant more. It means take more of the medicine, and when we have more of Krishna coming in, then Krishna, Surya, Sama, Maya, Haya, Andaka. When the sun of Krishna is risen in the heart, then the darkness of Maya is not there. So increasing our contact with Krishna, then Mano Bhiramat, then the mind will start to find some taste there. Because it is the mind that we are trying to train. We're trying to give it a higher taste. When the mind is not interested, it is very difficult for us to do things in devotional service. So, without sufficient exposure, regular, intense, then when will the mind get the taste? Like the question is always asked, how to improve our chanting? How can I get a taste for hearing? So you have to hear more, you have to chant more. These days we're pointing out there's a new philosophy that, what's the use of your inattentive 16 rounds? Better chant 2 or 3 attentive rounds. And so then some devotees think, yeah, actually, it said, yes, the root of all offense is to be inattentive whilst chanting the holy name of the Lord, Bhaktivedanta says. So, okay, I think I found a hack how to get around this. I don't want to be offensive, with this inattentive round. So, I'll just do one special 108 beads, But this is again Manoratena, chariot of the mind type of instruction. Srila Prabhupada has given us entry into the house of Bhakti by saying chant minimum 16 rounds. He's designed the program following Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Come and hear Bhagavatam Nityam regularly, daily. In fact, Prabhupada would say we should hear and chant, mold our lives in such a way that we cannot forget Krishna, 24 hours. That means there's always scope for improvement. So if one executes their own processes without following the recommendation of the Acharya, then the mind will simply lead us to a foolish position. So instead of trying to get that one magical attentive round, we are advised rather chant more than the minimum. Then the quantity will bring the quality eventually. Because we want to be exposed to Krishna. We want to have Krishna anxiety. That when the japa terrorists come, immediately you find a way to run because you know you have so much time you want to spend with Krishna. I have more rounds to chant. So you can always pick out when there's time wasting going on. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, we appreciate the devotees coming directly, seeing and hearing the speaker. And sometimes we have this mood of who's speaking. Must come to class, say who's speaking. Ours is that we understand Shukadev Goswami is speaking. Parikshit Maharaj is asking the questions. Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas are speaking in the purport. So if the speaker is trying to convey the purports and the verses as they are, then we are hearing what the self-realized souls have to give. And so we should be eager to hear. What is the moral advice? One should accept gold even if it is in a filthy place. That one should be able to take nectar even from a pot of poison. One should be able to accept a wife even if she's from an obscure family. So we are to become like the Hangsas, to be able to pick out the nectar. So here, Krishna Katha is said to be what helps us transcend the trap of dharma, artha, and karma. Who can deny that money is the honey? That money is the oil in the engine? Yeah, people say better to be miserable in a Mercedes-Benz than in a Toyota. Misery. I'm miserable, but, well, you know, I can post that I'm miserable on the 50th floor, penthouse. This is saying, oh, I am cuffed up, but look at my handcuffs, they are diamond encrusted. Still a prisoner. So this is not intelligent. We have to understand that dharma, artha, and karma are also part of the three vaga, as it is stated here. These are the goals within the material world. So no matter how much money we get, it will not be sufficient for what the heart is looking for. Instead, money, because it is like a key that opens the doors of sense gratification, then we open so many doors that should be left locked. You see, sometimes people, when they have lots of money and they have no spiritual culture, they become very degraded, extra degraded. In fact, the most degraded forms of crime that are going on, syndicates of the world, are sponsored and are to supply the very wealthy because they're trying to squeeze out of material existence some rasa. But there is no juice for the soul, so they are miserable. Ultimately, dharma is helpful because it is the launch pad. And what to speak of moksha, people don't even think of liberation. So Krishna consciousness, hearing about Krishna, immediately transports us to the essence of life, to the most attractive person whom the heart is looking for. Therefore, we are advised here that we should not be like the butcher or the one who kills himself. We should hear this Krishna conscious nectar. It is the medicine for our material disease. Then we can be healthy, and when we are healthy, we can enjoy completely, eternally. So spiritual health is where it's at. And spiritual health, you come to the hospital of Bhakti, you get the medicines from the spiritual doctors, and you can overdose this medicine. We cannot say, oh, you are reading Bhagavatam too much, you should stop. You're chanting too much, you should stop. No. Chant more. Uddhava came and he found Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, they're simply crying for Krishna. He was coming to pacify them, try to preach to them, bring them back. Krishna is in your heart, he's the super soul. You will understand. Nanda Maharaj not interested. You keep your super soul. This is my son, and I am missing him. And Uddhava could understand that. How do you tell someone who has perfected their affection for Krishna? How do I say you should not cry? Therefore, Govinda Maharaj says, cry more, cry more, cry more. This is the teaching. So more of Krishna. That means enthusiasm. We have to catch this disease of enthusiasm. And when we are enthusiastic, then we can transfer that disease to the world. If we ourselves are just crestfallen and just dragging our feet, we see this sometimes on Harinam. Devotees come and it's as if somebody forced them to come. Or it's a Rath Yatra and it's just, Rath Yatra. How are we going to attract someone to join? Oh, look at those people there. They don't want to be there. So Rath Yatra is a festival of enthusiasm. The Lord has come out. He's enthusiastic, big eyes staring out at the crowd. He's trying to see everyone. He's excited, colorful. Flowers everywhere on the chariot, big chariot. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes how there was a headline that the Hare Krishna chariot was dwarfing Nelson's column in Trafalgar Square. Nelson's column is the centerpiece of Trafalgar Square, but the devotees had their festival there and the chariot was towering over Nelson's column. This is it, Param Vijayate. It's an enthusiastic movement, and devotees who are not sufficiently drowning themselves, overdosing, hearing, taking the medicine, they are bad PR for our movement. Bad PR. Imagine prasadam seva and everyone is just... Who will want to join you in eating such a meal when everyone is looking depressed? Therefore, joyful, enthusiastic. Translation one last time. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system, that is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul, undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. Any thoughts, comments, chastisements, corrections?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the nice class. Maharaj, you mentioned about, you're talking about Krishna Katha and how the listener should be advised on how to listen properly. So, and in the purport, the verse quoted from Srila Narottam Das Thakur's bhajan, Manusha Janma Paya, Radha Krishna Nambhajiya, is that anyone who is not engaged in Krishna consciousness or engaged in the devotional service cannot be interested in listening to Krishna Katha because they still have the want for material sense gratification. So Maharaj, I would like to ask, when we go out to do book distribution or preaching, and we're trying to tell someone about Lord Krishna, and we may not be pure, like we have those material desires, and the person who we're talking to may not be willing to listen. So how does that benefit them?
the compassionate devotee. In the Gita, Krishna also says this message should not be spoken to those who are not devoted, who are not austere. Because it is rahasyam, it is confidential, can only be appreciated by the devotees. But then we see that the devotees, they seem to not follow Krishna's instruction. They are going and explaining to all sorts of people. So it is, as Srila Prabhupada said, one line, in fact, one word, this is such nice things, their lives will change. He said even if they touch the book, because just like if we say this sometimes to Christians or Muslims when they are not able to understand the deity, or you're worshipping idol, for example. And then we say, okay, if I took the Bible or the Quran and burnt it, which definitely we will not do, why the uproar? No, this is holy Quran, or this is holy Bible. What? But this is paper and ink. Why is it holy? Oh, no, the word of God is there. So okay, because it's words of God, then this no longer is just ordinary paper and ink. This is now a spiritual book, a holy book. So yes, they can also understand that the paper and ink is holy because it contains the instructions of God. So definitely these books full of instructions about God is holy. What we are doing is we're trying to create a favorable impression. So if we approach the people and try to interest them, and they feel that we are genuinely sort of meeting them with respect, equality, friendship, and that we are trying to give them something good, they may not take it, but they will consider it next time someone offers. And for us, the attempt at serving Krishna, of distributing books, is anukulyena. It's favorable. Yeah, so there's always benefit, even if the result that we're looking for doesn't come at that time. Krishna will appreciate the attempt to follow instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Please distribute books, please distribute books, please distribute books. Thank you for the question. Yes, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. You mentioned a lot about hearing, attentive hearing, and chanting, and I've been trying myself to improve my chanting and trying to see that.
Is your mic on?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been trying myself to hear like when I'm chanting, and then knowing that, trying to understand that the holy name is Krishna himself, and then give like all respects when chanting, like with attentive chantings. But then, like as you also said about like becoming like a policing other devotees, like I see like other devotees around like just with bead bags and hanging around and talking and walking and these things, and sometimes I feel like am I being too fanatic, trying to like improve myself too much, and like like am I the only one doing this, or like other devotees are advancing without doing that, I guess, like that's what I'm where I'm at. So how do I think about
Wow. So yes, dear devotees, we should not be a bad example to devotees, because what you are pointing out is called culture. People pick up a culture. When they come to a place, monkey see, monkey do. And so someone who may see, oh, nobody is like trying to be attentive and chanting. They are able to chant and have conversations. So maybe this is the way to do it. Yeah. No. In one sense, we are all responsible for flying our own planes. It will not be always the group The group can help us, but we have to us understand association is not a matter of just being with the people. We have to discriminate what kind of association we're getting. And so we have to look for those devotees who are having a good example. Yeah, and try not to dwell so much on the faults of others, but we can talk to seniors and then we can understand how others could be helped. Maybe Arjuna Saka Prabhu should have a seminar around this. Or Aniruddha Prabhu, you can talk to them, you know. And if we discuss about our practices, then it helps us. Yes, you may not be the only one going through that. So thank you for that question. No, we have to go for focused chanting. It may look like devotees are making advancement even though they are inattentive, but it happens that we end up being around socially, or we come culturally. You know, I'm a Hindu, this is a Hindu temple, I come. All my friends are here. So Sunday they'll definitely come, then I'm here. So Sunday, you know, I have to wear the things, everything is there, tilak is there. You find the bead bag and you're just shaking it around. So not everyone who is, what would be the word? Not identifying, but yes, sort of looking the part, maybe acting the part. So we have to actively seek those who are also trying to go deeper. Yes. Thank you. Okay, if allowed, one more.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for such a beautiful class. Maharaj, I have a question where in the purport it says, whoever is determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their own tongues, although such persons may make a show of hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam at a Bhagavad Sapta, but they will not benefit from it. And towards the end of the purport it says, whoever hears Krishna Katha willingly or unwillingly, they are released, they are liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So how do we understand that, Maharaj? Thank you.
Very good hearing. Yes, the point is being made, you could say almost in a dramatic way. Prabhupada is really underscoring the damage of animal killing. We would say it's almost like you're getting meat plugs into your spiritual ear. That although you are hearing, because the killing is the violence makes the heart hard. And so the soft, sweet kata of Krishna cannot penetrate such a heart. So even though one goes to such Bhagavad Saptaha, which are also, we were warned, professional reciters, that also may be tainted by some spirit of just earning a living. Of course, the devotees, they speak from Bhagavatam in the right mood, so we have to hear that type of Bhagavad Saptaha. So although one may be in that lowest position of killer of the self, or like the butcher, still Prabhupada is then, again, optimism, you know, that even unconsciously or consciously, for example, you touch fire, so the fire will still burn, regardless if you know or not. So the one side is to shoot down this violence and animal eating and see the detriment that it causes the heart, it blocks us away. But at the same time, encouraging that still, If you hear from the right persons, then the power of the Bhagavatam will be able to give us some improvement. Yeah. All right. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Gaura Premanande.